Hi Taurus, my name is Chandler Christine. This is your July 2018 tarot card reading. My cards are being stubborn, so how many of you are avoiding entering a new chapter of life? This chapter feels very expansive. This chapter feels very promising, exciting, joyful, spontaneous. What kind of new beginning is Taurus walking into? Thought. Interesting. This is kind of an otherworldly card. Okay, it's not the most grounding card. However, it does affect everything in our lives. So it is very materialistic in that way. It wants to speak to you about what you're manifesting. And it seems as though a few of you are manifesting some big projects. A few of you are actually thinking about new endeavors, or maybe maybe rehashing something in the past, trying again, something along those lines. I've been really getting subtle hints from you guys that not only intuitively but instinctually you're being guided in a different direction. Some of you are really thinking this through. Some of you are really weighing the options between your head and your heart. Let's see what else Taurus is working with this month. There is one card wanting to fall out, but we're not going to take any subtleties here. We want to know the big idea. Death and rebirth. That's a pretty big idea. Death and rebirth is signifying just that there's something that's coming to a close. And I'm not sure how you feel about this yet, Taurus. You might actually be a little nervous. A part of you wants to really move forward and do this thing. Another part of you is pulling you back and making you really think or reserve your energies. But there is an ending. It's impeding and it's in sight, right? It's right in front of your face in a lot of ways. This Death and Rebirth card also has a child in the middle. It's so luminous that you might not even be able to see the details of the card, but if I hold it just so, you do see a baby right in the middle of the window of the egg. It has this serpent swirling around it, so it's asking you to really use your wisdom, the wisdom of your heart to enter into this new beginning. What that is, hopefully we'll get some clarity over that in the clarity cards. This is just the dominant energy, Taurus, and I think a few of you could probably relate to wanting something to happen, right? Knowing something is just before you or just in sight. I already saw the picture, so I'm going to let it come out. But, needing to close some chapters, needing to really make amends, just shut the book on some ideas, some things that have been already put into motion or have progression behind them, have momentum behind them. But knowing that as soon as you do make this decision, it will come to an abrupt halt even, potentially. With the crone, we see that there's a lot of you wanting your sovereignty. You're wanting to claim your independence against social norms, really doing things your own way, really authentic and individual experience when we see the crone. She, doesn't weigh a lot of her beliefs on others' opinions. And if that has any indication on where you're going with thought, it seems to be a little bit of an evolution, doesn't it? Someone that is no longer peering into the cauldron, wondering what it's going to say back, but rather utilizing or using the mystical assets that she has, right? The psychic experiences or the enlightening details of her life in order to steer her direction. Not so much waiting on a response, but cultivating it, within herself or creating it for herself. It's a much more independent energy that you're going to be working with. So the few of you who might resonate with this reading, I'm really excited to see what comes up for you guys. But what I'm seeing, you might actually be involved with an earth sign. The first card initially, I kind of feel a very Virgoan sense. I'm wanting to do things the right way, right? Really weighing out her head and her heart, the way she feels against the way she thinks, or the beliefs and what they actually do for her, the kind of creative potential they give to her, if they even balance each other at all. It's this rebalancing or recalibration you're doing. And with death and rebirth, we see a lot of things in your life actually coming to an end, a lot of death. Either it's in a tangible sense, an actual chapter of your life is closing, but nonetheless letting go of something that no longer serves you or is not in your best interest. With the baby, kind of beaming out. It shows that there's a great potential for joy in this new chapter. But then again, what is it, right? What is it that you're walking into? Thought. 8 of Wands. Wow. So right off the bat, clarifying where you're going with this, okay? With thought and the 8 of Wands, this speaks to me that a lot of you are wanting to embark on a new journey, right? You might actually be leaving or moving this month. But nonetheless, you're leaving certain things behind. These are also very karmatic things. If you're still energetically tied to a relationship or even financially tied to a relationship, you can expect some of those issues to be resolved in this phase, in this cycle, or in this chapter. This is actually coming to a resolution for your highest interest as well, so the end result is favorable. And as you move forward, you realize that it actually broadens your scope by a lot. You're leaving the darkness and going into the light, whether that's the light of day in the realm of your thoughts or how they make you feel. I think it's the same regardless of how you look at it. You're finding peace within either what has transpired or what will transpire by relinquishing some of the victimization or the ideas that you've held about maybe the world being against you or this situation not being in your favor. It's kind of like you just feel better, and so things turn out better. And it's this micro-macro that you're working on this month. Temperance, okay, again, with this 8 of Wands, you're getting a lot of tangible change, okay? So whether you're moving, whether you're going into a different career path, whether you're ending a certain cycle or phase in your life, it speaks to all the same. With temperance, we see that as you move, as you gain this momentum and clarity, as the choices present themselves, and as the actions become more and more clear and necessary, there's a divinity that's taking place that asks you to put some of that energy in reserve. Put some of that energy on the back burner or save it for a rainy day. Some of you are really wanting to move forward with something, okay? And if it's in any context to a career, I'm thinking that your aspirations are in alignment with what your guides are trying to interject into your life. You're welcoming this change. You're feeling really positive about it. A lot of avenues seem to be opening up for you. It's going to give you a lot of warmth and joy in your life, and if it has any indication to a birth that's going to be had, well, this baby is going to bring you a lot of joy, okay? So it's a really good feeling, and with temperance, we're simply devoting ourselves to this new path for the long run. It's a long haul. It's going to be here with us for a long time, okay? So your thought process and the way you feel about this new shift taking place in your life has to be in alignment with your highest interest, right? That's what we aspire always, is to be in alignment with who we want to be. Maybe you're refining that aspect of your belief systems. Who you can be, right? Because that has an emotional pull on us when we really answer the question of who we could potentially become. We have to show up for that. We have to be responsible for that. And with death and rebirth, that could absolutely signify that some of you are leaving some, addictions behind. Some of you are leaving some past habits behind that have not worked out for you, have not been good for you. Some ideologies that have actually limited your success or kept you back. This is very esoteric reading. This is a very esoteric or spiritual feeling that I'm getting for you, Taurus. And I think, to be honest, it's an amazing energy for you guys because you can really ground this. You can be really serious about this energy that comes in. It's not fleeting, okay? It's here to stay. It's here to be with you. And in fact, incorporate itself so into your life, ingrain itself into so many areas that it will become you. So it's really important that your thoughts, your feelings, your ideologies, you are in alignment with your power, because your power is like a steam engine, right? You want to add as much of that coal to the fire as possible. But keep in mind that this is a long haul, so don't burn up all your resources all at once, I'm hearing. Take those reservations and precautions in order for you to really stay in the flow of this energy, to really work with this energy. Even if it doesn't pan out for you right away, you're going to sense this for a long time to come. And maybe that's even because Uranus has transited into Taurus, you guys are getting some electrifying energies in your life. It's sparking new ideas, sparking new potentials, and it's making you want to go very abruptly or very quickly towards new endeavors or towards new beginnings in your life. And I see that coming to you, but with Temperance, we do have to keep this divine right timing, in the back of our minds, and not try to so stubbornly or hastily control these energies, because they're working with us. They don't work for us, right? And that's something to keep in mind. We have to work with the energies. And with Death and Rebirth, I really want to get some clarity over this, because there's some good beginnings for you guys coming up. With the Eight of Wands, it has the potential to be very lucrative, very successful. Something that you put your hard work into that surmounts over time into way more potentials, right, than it might initially seem to have, within its potentials. The World, Ten of Coins, and King of Cups. Interesting. So, the World resonates with Jupiter, okay, and having a stroke of luck. Something that you come into, right, and there's a sign of cycles, okay? Very cyclical energies coming up, very karmatic energies, but certain cycles are coming to an end, and with the World, you embrace this new beginning, okay? This is just an affirmation or confirmation that you can move into this new beginning, and you're almost relieved in doing so. It's a certain surrender that's like, okay, I made it. With the World, there's a certain fated event that takes place, right? It's something that's uniquely yours, right? It's unique to you in your life, but it's unforeseen, right? It's not something you can pre-plan, and it might be a stroke of luck, or it might be, a perfect timing situation where things just work out for you, and if this energy has any context for the rebirth that you're entering into, it's going to be a very prosperous time for you. It's a time where you get to really be yourself. It's a time where the world works in your favor. So anything you try to do during this time, whether it's a creative endeavor, right, or if it's just a time of self-expression, you're going to be heard, right? There's a potential for the world to hear you during this time of rebirth. So, you must be very aware of your thoughts. You must be very aware of your actions. You must be very aware of yourself, right? Because the World, there is no other indication that anything is working for her other than herself, right? She ultimately created her world because she ultimately took the reins, right? She was responsible, she was consistent, and it's those kind of energies that are coming through with the World. Just show up and things will work out for you. Ten of Coins. Ten of Coins speaks of a community, right? Everyone putting together their pieces, their coins into this surmounting pile, right, that you can rely on for time to come. This is talking about support. If some of you are starting a new financial endeavor, you will find support, whether it's in an institution like a bank, right, or whether it's simply the fact that you can rely on the chapters and issues of your life that are closing to reap a much more rewarding feeling. This doesn't only revolve around feelings, of course, because feelings are associated with the Ten of Coins in the sense of us being able to rely on either people or ourselves for support, right? Pre-planning, putting investments into place, making sure we have savings for a rainy day, that kind of feeling. But this also is monetary, so some people might find that there's way more financial support than they initially realized, that maybe their fears or hesitations in starting this new endeavor was because they were afraid they wouldn't be received very well, but actually it turns out you are being received very well, and this is a very good endeavor, and people are excited about this. They actually want to help you, okay? So that's the kind of feeling that I'm getting. And with the King of Cups, this is someone who ultimately is very business savvy because he's very connected within himself. He is very confident and unique or authentic, and people just seem to give a lot of trust to him, right? They rely on him and they do trust him to guide certain areas of business. Well, in reverse, it kind of symbolizes the opposite, that you guys might be wary of any potential partnerships that don't put you in the power, right? Or if there's anyone who's involved with a water sign like Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, this is a person who could potentially be manipulating the situation, and to watch out for them. though I feel like they are a person you can trust, typically, they might not want to invest their energy into this thing. Or if there's, a relationship at hand that's coming to an end, I see that this person actually makes you feel very unsafe or takes away from your power. With the King of Cups in reverse, it also symbolizes just emotional manipulation, or someone who's emotionally unbalanced, right? And needing to come to terms maybe with how they are in nature. Because the King of Cups, in a reverse position, is a very stubborn person to get to see any other way. They're usually so swamped in their emotions, or they're just not very open, right, to interpretation, and that can mean so many things. But with the King of Cups, I'm really excited to see what comes up with the Crone, because it's a very interesting reading so far, and Taurus, you guys have been having some really clear readings lately. My last reading in June for you guys was all about birth, it was all about bringing in new chapters, and it actually spoke to pregnancy. So if any of you readers are watchers out there are relating to this kind of feeling, know that the new beginning actually will be very good for you guys, but it does take some patience. It does take some cooperation. With the Crone, we're seeing the Fountain. Okay, so something comes to a boil, right? And it's a good way. It's something that's accumulated for maybe a very long time. And it's something that is very karmic and the like, that you reap, that is actually very rewarding and deserving for the efforts that you put in. With the Crone, you can also see that you guys are being bombarded with inspiration, that this unique energy comes to you really at the most perfect timing, where if someone does disappoint you, or let's say you leave a relationship, or you end something that was not to your benefit, right? Leaving certain habits behind, even some patterns, right, that kept you stagnant or in a cycle, we're seeing you break out of that, like, completely. This is something that is unifying in the ways of your karmatic debt, so you're obviously being put back in your power somehow, okay? But then also with the Fountain, we can see potentials for new beginnings and a shower of abundance and divine right timing and being put at the right place at the right time. And with the Crone, if that has any indication of how you'll be feeling super independent, going against social norms, doing something that is uniquely divine to your soul, and having an overflow of either attention, right? Because what do people do around a fountain? They gather, right? It's a place of water. It's an element we can all unite over, right? So it's a coming together of either energies, of efforts, and it promises a high reward, right, for anyone in this kind of position with the Crone. I really see this being very beneficial for you guys. 7 of Coins in reverse. So again, this is something that I'm picking up has been lasting for a long time, okay? So as you close this cycle, be aware of how you feel about it. Don't be jaded, because sometimes the Crone has a potential to become jaded, right? When she feels this change, upon her, it kind of makes her uneasy. She is the person she ultimately relies on. And with the 7 of Coins, this is kind of the farmer type, right? Showing up every single day, working every single day, being very consistent with his work, and it's a lot of responsibility. So as this Fountain energy surmounts, you might find yourself needing to dedicate a lot more time to those endeavors, or to that new beginning that has just begun, right? And it definitely has a very mindful energy as far as how you carry through this energy, what you do with it once it enters your life. It's very long term. With the 7 of Coins, we can see that he's showing up every single day to reap his harvest. And it does reap a good harvest if you are a little tedious with it, right? If you show it more attention you show it, the bigger your harvest could potentially be. Any more clarity for Taurus? A question of intentions, okay? Strength, the 5 of Coins, and 7 of Swords. this is just some more clarity, so I'm going to put it back. But I think what this indicates is that you have to find some inner strength in order to move forward with this endeavor. You know, the Five of Coins is asking you to make a decision, right? And with death and rebirth, it seems as though you could have two opposing ideas of the energy you're working with at the same time. You know, you could feel very down about the things that are leaving you, or you could feel very heavy or weighted by the decisions you need to make, but then also very elated and excited about the things that could potentially be if you just let that go. And I see how it's so conflicting. With Thought and the Crone, they are also kind of mirror images of themselves in very opposing ways. So it's a lot of thinking that you guys are dissecting, right? A lot of thinking and emotions involved, some standards that are needing to be set, right? Some boundaries that are needing to be laid. Yeah, I really see that this could be very good for you guys. The Eight of Wands and Temperance also makes me feel very good about the outcome of whatever you guys are starting. Even though it entails a little bit of work, it's going to be worth it, right? But you're going to have to stay with it, right? Be the fountain and just be ever unflowing, ever unfolding. You know, it has so much to do with your infinite purpose, right? That the idea behind it is very feminine and the like, that there's open endings to all of this, right? You could walk into this new cycle and not really know the end or have no expectations. And that kind of makes it a little bit more authentically yours to begin with. You know, there's just a certain openness. And with the King of Cups, it's almost like I'm being brought to this with that statement, because in the King of Cups in reverse, he's manipulating because he's trying to control. You can't do that and be the King of Cups. I mean, you can, but you're not going to be a very good king, you know? So you have to know the elements you're working with. And when the King of Cups is upright, he doesn't try to control the waves, right? He didn't put barriers around the whole ocean. But what he did is he set himself up in a very sturdy structure, right, to protect him from the waves if necessary. While he's having a gentle conversation with someone, he is very gentle when he's in his element. So, you know, this is the kind of person that you aspire to be in this next phase of your life. You know, people enjoy talking to you. People will come to you for certain emotional insights, and you'll have a ton of insights to give them, right? You're going to be so super in your element, balanced emotionally and intellectually, and you're going to just be a force to be reckoned with in business especially. But until you learn to not control things the way that you've been controlling things, it might be a little rocky. Because what I'm seeing is that this poses so much potential for growth, but you have to learn how to take the hits. You need to learn how to take the waves. It's not about blocking them or moving away from your waters. It's not about ignoring the waters that are around you. They're going to come crashing over you sometimes. With the King of Cups, you can see he's built this pyramid that is super strong, this space around him that he can take those waves. He can deal with them. He can roll with them and still, you know, be as patient as ever, you know, working with the elements. So again, with the Seven of Coins, we kind of see this long term. This is like a long-term commitment that you're making into your own cultivation, or you know, culminating your efforts, right? Investing your time, your money, you know, time especially, because I feel like that is a very valuable thing that we don't just give out, right? And that's again why we work, right? We hope to get an equal amount of pay for the time we spend. So, you know, what might not be the best logical investment may actually pose long term to be very lucrative for you. You're building on something, you're experiencing things for yourself, you're becoming more authenticated in the process, and it poses as a opportunity for you to reap some long-term rewards. So I'm really excited for you, Taurus. I feel like this is a really good reading for just about anyone who's listening. You know, if I were to start a new business, I would want this energy behind me. You know, there's bound to be obstacles. There's bound to be, you know, just a few glitches as you get going, because it's not all going to be paved out for you. It's totally a matter of you paving the way in some ways. The Crone especially is someone who really exemplifies that. You know, she does not fit into social norms, and it's not the most widely accepted role in society, yet it's something that empowers her. It's something that gives her life, and it, is noticeable from afar that she is a force to be reckoned with. So, just keep going, guys. Whatever you're working on, whatever kind of creative potential you have, whatever things you're thinking about, it can pose a lot of long-term positive rewards. But don't be afraid. You can totally do this. Sexuality comes to you from my from my Spirit Oracle cards, and it exemplifies some kind of connection that's being made, okay? If you are within a relationship, right, and it's a very spiritual relationship as well. It could be very karmatic in the way that you look at this relationship. You feel a certain way about this person that is absolutely undeniable, and you guys might actually share an esoteric connection, connecting telepathically with this person, or sharing imaginary insights or visions, sharing the same ideas. There's a lot to be said about this card because there is a lot of energy behind the sexual energy. We can create a lot of creative potential through sexual energy. So anything that you do regarding your sexuality at this time could be and should be used for your betterment, your expansiveness, your connections, your reflection as well. The kind of feelings that you feel with a sexual energy that is very balanced and harmonious can be very telling in the things that we need to incorporate more and more into our lives, right? So it's a really esoteric way of looking at any kind of sexual bond or even a potential creative bond, something that is very visionary in the sense of you and your partnerships, you in business with others, and just your sense of power in itself that can really extend our momentum that we give or get through this energy. So if you're applying anything in business, make sure you take time for yourself and your loved ones. Connecting on that level will be so beneficial for you guys at this time. An influx of sexual energy is coming your way. Embracing both masculine and feminine aspects of the self creates wholeness. It is safe for you to express your sexuality in whatever way you choose, provided you do it lovingly. I'll end the reading on that, Taurus. I wish you luck in July. Good luck with whatever new beginnings you're starting. I'm excited for you guys. I will see you in August. Bye.